Stalker is a first-person survival horror game series developed by GSC Game World. It is loosely based on a novel Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky and a movie based on the book simply called Stalker. It is set in Ukraine, where a mysterious second Chernobyl disaster took place. Due to some unknown circumstances, the exclusion zone now houses some reality-bending phenomenon with dangerous and invisible anomalies that can burn, crush, poison, and entrap those that are unfortunate enough to walk into it. There are also mutated monsters that came from either the anomalous environment or scientific experimentation. However, despite the danger of the zone, that didn't stop people from breaking in and trespassing it. Strange and anomalous items known as artifacts littered the zone. The artifacts have a variety of strange properties depending on where or what type of artifact you got. Some emit a localized strong gravitational pull. Some can heal anyone that are in close proximity with it. Some energize the body and more. Because of its properties, an underground black market of these artifacts sprung up, in which the Stalkers, a name for those who illegally trespass the zone, would risk their life to scavenge, find, and sell these artifacts. With all of the people that have entered the zone, from criminals, scientists, mercenaries, to simple people just looking to make some money, their different ideals and goals would lead to the creation of the various factions in the zone. Duty, a militaristic group of stalkers that wants to destroy the zone. Freedom, a group that wants an open access to the zone. Neutral stalkers, also called loners, that just want to hunt some artifacts. Bandits and criminals that entered the zone to escape from their crimes. Those are just some of the prominent groups that, in one way or another, will change the zone. One of the peculiar gameplay quirks of this game is supposedly on higher difficulties, the damage dealt increases on all boards. That means that the enemies will deal damage to you more, but you will also deal damage to them more. The same goes to the hit probability. That is, if you believe this. Because of the anomalous nature of the X-ray engine and the right circumstances, this fact seems true, but it is not. The only changes in difficulty that are the same in 3 games are player damaged resistance and loot quantity. The higher the difficulty, the lower loot quantity you get and get less resistance from damage. The damage resistance varies from game to game, but in both Shadow of Chernobyl and Call of Pripyat, the Master difficulty removes this resistance bonus. Do note that this only applies to you, the player, and not on the enemy, so it won't make the enemies more resilient or weak. There is, however, one game where attack damage changes, and that is in the Shadow of Chernobyl. On lower difficulty, you get an additional damage to the enemies. To better show you this, I have turned on a God mode and our bandit friend will help us. In this way, we can clearly see the shots hitting the body. In Novice, it takes only 4 shots to the kneecaps to kill the bandit. In Stalker, it takes 5. In Veteran, it also takes 5, but won't kill them straight away. And in Master difficulty, takes 7 shots. So no, higher difficulty doesn't make the game easier. In fact, in this game, higher difficulty makes the enemies more of a bullet sponge. And no, there isn't any random no-hit chance. Every bullet that hits the enemy's hitbox will always register as a hit. If this is the case, then why was this myth created in the first place? Well, a common theory is that it's because of the weapon's accuracy. The first few weapons that you'll get have a horrendous accuracy. So that means that in a firefight, when you aim with the crosshair or the iron sight and shoot, you might think it was a hit and just didn't register, but in actuality, the bullet missed the target, and with that, the illusion of ghost bullets and bullet sponge enemies came to be. One of the most peculiar phenomena in the zone is the fascinating yet dangerous reality-bending anomalies. These things litter the zone, changing their environment and hinder those that wish to lurk the zone. While most of the anomalies are invisible, you can throw bolts at an area where you think an anomaly is hiding, and if the bolt reacts, then something awaits there. Some anomalies can produce an artifact that the stalkers will risk their life and limb around these phenomena just to acquire those items. Here are just some few interesting anomalies. The burner anomaly is a fire-type anomaly that activates when something is in its zone. When it activates, a jet of fire will shoot out, burning anything that's near. Spotting it is fairly easy as its heat haze gives it away, and throwing a bolt at it activates the anomaly. It can produce the following artifacts. The whirligig anomaly is a gravity-type anomaly. When it activates, it pulls nearby objects within its range and spins it around while raising it up. After some time, the anomaly will discharge a force that will kill anything within its grasp. Spotting it will be fairly easy. You can tell if there is a whirligig anomaly if you see a gust of dust into a certain spot, and if you throw a bolt at it, it shows you where the anomaly is. If you do spot this anomaly, you can amuse yourself by feeding it lots of bodies and watch it pulverize those corpses. It can produce the following artifacts. The burnt fuzz anomaly is an organic plant that was mutated by the zone. It can be spotted easily as it looks like a vine. If any living organism passes through the plant, it releases a deadly cloud of irritants. Unarmored or light armored stalkers are susceptible to this anomaly. To safely pass through the plant, one must need to walk slowly. Its artifacts in the shadow of Chernobyl are the following. The latter games do not feature any artifacts that came from this anomaly. The Tesla anomaly is a mobile electro anomaly. This anomaly is the electric version of the fiery comet. It moves in a predictable pattern, so avoiding it should be easy. However, if a stalker is unable to avoid it, then that stalker will suffer a shocking experience. This anomaly does not produce any artifacts. The space anomaly is a mysterious anomaly that traps anything and anyone unfortunate enough to enter it. Due to the zone's instability, it created these anomalies where our concept of time and space are rewritten. The anomaly can create wormholes to different locations, as this is the only way to escape the phenomena. Despite this, finding these exits rely on pure luck, as there is no indication on where the exit is. Due to this, many of those imprisoned by the anomaly can only cry and call for help until their body ceases to function. Despite the unnatural nature of the anomaly, there is a way to pop this bubble. When equipping the Svarog detector, it can create a frequency that can interfere with the anomaly, and eventually the anomaly will pop and everything within its grasp will be released. While this anomaly doesn't naturally produce any artifacts, a longtime stalker named Forrester claimed that while he was stuck in the space anomaly, he found the enigmatic artifact known as the compass, and with this it helped him escape the anomaly. And finally, the wide-scale anomalous event, the emission or blowout. It is a sudden, massive release of energy from the center of the zone. When it happens, the sky above will be covered with clouds. A loud roar will mark the beginning, and a siren warning stalkers will echo throughout the area. Then an orchestra of lightning and thunder will be heard as the sky above lit up from the energy being released, until a massive burst of energy creeps through the area, killing anyone unlucky enough to be caught in the open. It periodically happens within the zone and has a chance to replenish some artifacts in certain anomaly fields. While the phenomenon is very lethal, a drug named antibiotic can induce an artificial coma by shutting down the user's nervous system, rendering them safe from the emission. There are also rumors that with each emission, the zone expands. From the feral pseudodogs to the terrifying pseudogiant, the fauna of the zone has a lot of hostile and dangerous monsters that can oppose those who lurk in the zone. Thanks to the anomalous and corruptive environment of the zone, those organisms that formerly lived here mutated to the deadly beasts we know today. The rodent is a mutated rodent from an unknown species. It always attacks in packs and will viciously attack its prey. Despite being in a large pack, their small body means that they can be killed in one shot from all weapons. The blind dog came from those dogs that were left behind when the catastrophe struck. Those dogs then mutated from generation to generation until they acquired the trait of blindness. You would think that blindness would hinder and make the dog weaker, but it in fact made their sense of smell a lot stronger. With this advantage, those normal dogs then went extinct, and the blind dog became the dominant breed in the zone. The flesh came from the wild mutation of domesticated pigs in the zone. To protect itself from the hostile environment, the flesh developed some unique evolutionary traits. Despite looking unsavory, the flesh is still technically a pig, so some stalkers would hunt and prepare a meal with meat from the flesh. The only downside is the radiation the creature has. The boar, while looking less mutated compared to the others, it still has received some changes. A stronger physical strength, a high intelligence, and an appetite for human flesh. Pseudodog, just like the blind dog, came from the canines that were left in the zone. While blind dogs mutated to get rid of one of their senses, the pseudodog enhanced it. The mutant uses its speed to make a hit and run on its victim, which is concerning since they hunt in packs. Despite being a dangerous animal, they can still be tamed. A stalker named Noah tamed a pseudodog and even managed to breed them to get pseudodog puppies. Snorks are those people that were left to guard the zone. The exposure to radiation and anomalies broke those unfortunate ones. Snorks are known for their gas masks. Despite the mask covering their eyes, their sense of smell from the mask tube gives them the information they need to hunt. Their mutated body and aggressive behavior makes them a dangerous predator. Bloodsucker is a humanoid monster that, due to the mutation, made them one of the most dangerous creatures in the zone. Its recognizable tentacles are used to suck out the blood from their victim, giving its name. Bloodsuckers can make a lair where they would get their rest or store their victims for future use. What makes them deadly is that they have a great agility, intelligence, and most important of all is their ability to become invisible. Their tactic is to turn invisible and run around their prey. After circling for some time, they run up to their victim and use their claws to slash their prey. Pseudogiant is the most tankiest mutant of the zone. It is unknown where and how the pseudogiant actually mutated, but a common theory is that it came from a human that mutated heavily. Despite its unknown origin, the pseudogiant is very well known as the most dangerous mutant in the zone. It is extremely resilient, and its ground pound packs a heavy punch if unlucky. Those within melee range will have to be wary, as its absurd strength can deal a lot of damage. It is also a very irradiated mutant, making it emit radiation. Despite the mutation, there are two anomalous entities that have a mysterious origin. Poltergeist, an entity only appearing as a ball of lighting, can manipulate nearby objects and hurl them at the stalker, even if it seemingly looks like a ball of electricity. Physical attacks such as knifing or shooting at it can damage the entity. In the latter game, the poltergeist cannot see and can only detect movement. Crouching or walking can make you undetectable, so getting close and either using a gun or a knife can kill the poltergeist without much hassle. Another entity in the same vein as this, but much more rarer, is the pyrogeist. It is somewhat the same with the poltergeist, but it's made out of fire and can attack using pillars of flame. There are also zombified stalkers. Stalkers that are unfortunate enough to perish in a psi field will stand back up and be a zombie. This is probably one of the most messed up ways to die in the zone, as you are technically alive but your body is essentially a husk. A zombie will wander the zone aimlessly while holding guns that were in their hand before they turned. They can fire these guns but with limited control. Zombies can speak, but this is reduced to just some words and broken sentences. Zombies can also be seen around a fire pit, conversing with each other in mumbles and sometimes even laughing. This and the voice lines means that the zombie still has some humanity, albeit extremely distorted. However, not all of the beasts came from mutation or from the zone itself. Some are lab-made experiments. Chimera is an aggressive, mutated animal created by an experiment on the fauna of the zone. What makes this animal extremely dangerous is that it is highly mobile. It can run fast and pounce on you. And most concerning of all is that its claw can deal a massive amount of damage. This makes the chimera one of the most dangerous animals in the zone. However, on a happier note, the reason that the chimera wasn't seen in the first two games is that it is said that the chimera weren't seen in the zone for years, and that they were extinct or just in small numbers. Burer is a former human created by the Secret Service's genetic experiment. The experiment centered around human telekinesis, therefore this enemy is ready with psychic attacks. It can use telekinesis to manipulate objects around and fling it at the stalker. It can release a shockwave that can deal heavy damage to those within its range. It can also make a telekinesis shield when it puts its arms up. In this state, the Burer is immune to any type of damage despite it not being able to attack. Lastly, it can drain your stamina and pull your weapon away. Among these lab rats, the controller has some peculiar characteristics, just like the Burer. The former human victim came from the Secret Service genetic experiments. Because of this, they are highly intelligent and possess some psychic abilities. One of the most interesting parts about this enemy is that in a cave in Call of Pripyat, a controller communicated with the player. Now we know that the Burer can also communicate with people, albeit in a one-way communication by making a noise of a crying child to lure in unsuspecting stalkers. What's different with this controller is that it tells you to turn back and to leave them alone. This means that a controller is capable of telepathic communication, or perhaps even more wildly a human consciousness. Whether this controller really wants to be alone or just wants to tempt the stalker to go inside is debated. Another interesting thing to note is that near the controller is a dead body named Moroni. This body has some bread and medkit. Looking around the room, there is quite an abundance of medicinal supplies. Now, is this cave the controller's home? Who is Miron? And was he really killed by the controller? Or did the controller find a wounded stalker and try to tend to his wounds but still died? No matter what narrative you are into, this encounter is still very interesting, as it is one of its kind. Or this Moroni is just some Fallout reference. Despite the games being over a decade at this point, the game's community is still very much alive, and it's even growing. This is thanks to the game's unique atmosphere and gameplay mechanics. The other thing that kept this game alive is the vast amount of community-made content. Prominent among these is the modding community. Some add a few things into the game, while some are full standalone mods. Here are some great examples made by the community. Call of Chernobyl is a sandbox mode for Call of Pripyat. This mod is for those who want a vanilla-like experience, as it stitches the levels from 3 different games as well as some new levels. It also overhauls the artificial intelligence and the A-life of the game, as well as other game modifications. I recommend this if you like the vanilla experience of the game while wanting more content. Stalker Oblivion Lost and Stalker Lost Alpha are mods that aim to restore old planned features of the game. It adds total free play, improved life, new levels, extended main storyline, and more. If you want to see the cut content in action, I recommend this mod. Dead Air is a standalone mod that changes the entire game, from sound effects, textures, to gameplay, and more. It is a hardcore mod similar to Misery. And of course we can't talk about Stalker mods without mentioning Stalker Anomaly. It is similar to the other standalone mods, as it also has a hardcore-oriented gameplay but with added more changes and updates. This doesn't stop here, as this mod has another mod pack called Stalker Gamma, with more stuff added to it. There are of course more, but I will stop here before we start seeing mods like these. While some of the mods here are standalone, if you are new to the series, I highly recommend you to play the 3 games first, with little to no mods, as with this, you can be more familiar with the world of Stalker. The community-made content doesn't stop here, as there are a vast number of fan-made artworks, music, videos, and other various things. There is even a camping challenge themed after Stalker. People would camp under certain rules and would tally up their scores based on the actions they did. Some of these take place in normal public camping spaces, while some take it a step further by illegally trespassing and stealthily camp on private or abandoned property. There are also milsims based around the game. People would dress up as their faction and LARP to their heart's content. I will link some of these below. As for fan movies, there are some numerous videos such as animations and live-action movies. There is even an upcoming fan film named Shadow of the Zone. If you are familiar with these 2 films, then you are in for a treat, as the people that made those films will make this one. Because of the game's setting, there are a lot of in-game locations and monuments that are inspired by real life. Well, of course, you already know this, since the game is set in Chernobyl. I will, however, show you in-game pictures and their real-life counterparts, as well as some itsy-bitsy information about them to make this segment more interesting. First is the Yanov Station. This place was heavily used to haul materials to create the city. Next is the Jupiter factory. Interestingly, this factory also manufactured robots that were used on the massive cleanup. Next is the Volkov complex. This place was used to hold the S-75 anti-air missile system. Next is the Red Forest, while the real Red Forest trees were bulldozed. These trees were planted where the former forest stood. Next is the Friendship of Nations. It's a monument referencing the other Soviet nations. Next is the bear statue. Next is the Café Pripyat. It was a place for workers and residents to drink and relax. The game, however, doesn't feature the colorful glass panes. Next is the Prometheus Cinema. It should be noted that the statue of Prometheus was later moved near the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Next is the Palace of Culture Energetic. It was a community center where it housed a cinema, theater, library, gymnasium, swimming pool, boxing wrestling ring, dancing and meeting halls, and even had a shooting range in the basement. Next is the Avanhard Stadium. It was a stadium built for the local football club. Next is the Emerald Village. It was a children's summer camp near Pripyat. This place was sadly burned down by a big forest fire in 2020. Next is the infamous Ferris wheel. Just like in the Call of Duty 4 mission, this place was heavily used as a helicopter landing zone by the liquidators after the disaster. And lastly, the place where it all started, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. If you are interested in Chernobyl, then I recommend this free book I found. It's a light read with mostly pictures, so you won't have a hard time reading too much. Because of the game's troubled development, there are a lot of things that were planned but didn't make it to the game. Here are some of them. Browning high power can be spawned in-game, but cannot be obtained normally when playing. A Mac-10 has some code, however, it never took off the idea stage. Minigun was usable in an early prototype, but was eventually removed in the final game. P90 has a texture and model in the files, while a mounted PKM only has a model and some code. There are also some mutants that were cut. A traditional type of zombie was in the game files. They would walk slowly towards you, and if they took enough damage, they would pretend to be dead. After some time, they would stand up and continue towards you. There is also a mutant very similar to the zombie. This one is called a ghost. It is essentially just a zombie, but with a semi-transparent body. Next is the Islam or Fracture. Other than the model, we know that if this mutant sees you, then it will start charging at you. Next is the mutated cat. Other than its pseudodog-like behavior, there isn't that much interesting with it. However, despite not being a mutant in-game, you could find its model on a duty base on both Clear Sky and Shadow of Chernobyl. In the early versions, there was supposed to be a faction called Sin, and there are some models called Dark Stalkers, belonging to the group. The faction believed that the zone is some divine creation and would religiously worship it. The models were later repurposed as the bandits, and the cult-like lore was later added to the monoliths. There are also the Dwarf and the Karlach. They were supposed to be in the underground laboratory X-18, while Morlock and Counterpart was supposed to be in the Clear Sky prequel. Next is the cut areas. Dead City was supposed to house the mercenaries and bandits. Because of this, they both formed a ceasefire with each other. In the earlier plans, the city would have much more importance, as the Doctor and the Marked One would get kidnapped and brought to this city. It is here where the Mark I would learn his true identity and be given the key to the Pripyat safe house. Darkscape was supposed to be on an escape mission, where the player would have to escape from a pursuing helicopter and break through enemy checkpoints while driving a vehicle. This was later removed along with the vehicles. Maps named Milrad and Deadmill also shared the same fate. Generators were supposed to be near the Chernobyl nuclear power plants, and it houses the giant generators responsible for the deadly emission. Other than an entrance to the war labs, it is not known what is the exact reason for the map. War labs were supposed to be where the group experimented with the Common Consciousness Project. In Call of Pripyat, the level's layout was reused. Here are some cut anomalies, all of which are only referenced in the code. Lift anomaly is described as a harmless anomaly, temporarily negating normal gravity. Manifests itself as an area, usually several meters in diameter, where Earth's gravitational pull is greatly reduced. Forms the pellicle artifact. Time machine anomaly is described as a true miracle of an anomaly. An area several meters in diameter where the time flow is significantly slower than usual. Appears to have no negative effect on human health. However, the time machine can be very difficult to get out of. Interestingly, removing Mama's beads, an artifact usually found in the center of the anomaly, causes the time machine to disappear. While the game is loosely based on the book Roadside Picnic, there are some certain things that are the same, different, or outright not added to the series. In the book, the cause of the anomalous zone came from a visitation of extraterrestrial beings. After they vacate the Earth, they left their trash and filth reminiscent of a messy roadside picnic. Despite being an alien waste, these things came from an alien with advanced technology. Thus, the trash has a variety of peculiar properties that some people would want. However, in the games, the disaster was caused by an experiment. Here are some artifacts that weren't added in the Stalker games. Death Lamp is a device that releases some sort of rays that are lethal to living organisms. Itchers can cause a variety of strange phenomena in a radius of 100 yards when squeezing it several times. Dogs within its range will bark or howl when it's been activated. It can also influence those unlucky enough to be affected. Some could get nosebleeds, others start hysterically screaming. Some fall into deep depression, others go berserk, and some panic. Dick the Tramp is a mysterious artifact in an industrial building. Nobody has ever seen this device, but it is known to cause noises and shaking inside the building. It was jokingly said by a scientist that it is just a toy that the visitor's child left behind. In the Stalker games, there is a strange device called Monolith. It is said that the monolith can grant a wish to those who manage to reach it. However, in the book it's called the Golden Sphere or the Wish Machine, and it's a copper-colored sphere artifact in a quarry. To reach it, one must sacrifice someone to the meat grinder anomaly in the quarry's entrance to reach it. Because the games have a lot of little but interesting things in it. Here are some random facts. In the shadow of Chernobyl, in the mission where you had to rescue a captive duty member given by Bullet, if you free the prisoner, and if he died by natural or by unnatural cause, you can loot his body and find this unique pistol that you can't find anywhere else. This pistol, named Martha or Beretta, is an oversight weapon, as this is planned for the clear sky and was just simply not removed. Also, while we are in this area, there is a peculiar item that piques the interest of players, and that is the bread with quotation marks. Even if it's named bread, you can't really eat it in any way. Because of the suspicious nature of the bread, it has spawned various jokes around it. There are even mods that add the bread as a special artifact. While the item is certainly weird, a common explanation for this is that it is a different bread item that NPCs will use when playing their eating animation. This is supported by the quotation marks, as items with these marks are used in animations such as hand radio or playing a guitar. When entering this building and peeking through this door, we can see a mysterious machine. While it is strange, this is a reference to a popular Soviet show called Guest from the Future, where this device is a time machine. In wild territory, if you go to this tunnel and pass through the anomalies, you can find a corpse named Freeman. Near him is the unique pistol named Big Ben, and looting him will give you a device that will tell you what happened to him. According to him, he was sent to the zone by the Black Mesa and had a hard time adapting to the zone. He even had to sell his trusty crowbar just to survive, but we already know that it wasn't enough. While the drivable vehicles are cut from the game, in the shadow of Chernobyl, you can find a remnant of it. In the push to get to the power plant, you can encounter an armored personnel carrier. If you spam the use key, you can enter it. Before you can drive, though, you must need to be in third-person mode, so you can see better. You can achieve this by typing this into the console and pressing F2. Then you need to also type this. With this, you can turn on the engine with the B key and press the spacebar to release the brakes. Then you can finally drive in-game. What's interesting is that it even has a fuel meter and will explode if you take enough damage. In Garbage, if you are neutral with bandits, you can encounter this bandit named Kolya Shaman. Talking to him will make him mention that in Cordon, you could land a date with some zombies on the tunnel, and if you went to that tunnel, there were no zombies nearby. Only some corpses on the floor and a corpse on a mattress. Wait, oh no. Jesus Christ, I know bandits are lawbreakers, but I didn't expect them to be this down bad. While some artifacts have some different passive attributes, there's a hidden and not much known ability, and that is armor repair. If you are equipping certain artifacts and are near a certain anomaly, then the armor you are currently wearing will begin to mend itself. However, this isn't that much fast, but given some time and patience, it can fully repair your armor. It should also be noted that this is only present in the first game. Hidden in the depths of the Clear Sky game files is a bunch of files that, when strung together, shows an animation of a half-naked woman named Georgia Peach. What's more interesting is that the game also has this file name, but with a different picture, as it is used in a television animation. Then it's safe to assume that this is just a placeholder asset. Interestingly, worryingly, and surprisingly, while researching this video, I found out that it doesn't stop there. In Stalker's earlier builds, back when it was still part of Oblivion's Lost, build 749 to be exact, another naughty picture is in the game. It's a picture of a woman on her back, bending and showing off her bloodsucker. This time, it's not even hidden in the depths of the game files. When you load the build up, it's the first thing you see, because it's the damn loading screen. Someone in the dev team definitely needs the monolith. In the official websites of the games, you could get some few interesting things. Here are some of them. In the websites for Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat, you could download a benchmark for those games. In the website for Shadow of Chernobyl, you can download the soundtrack for the game as well as some fan music. And for the most unique thing you can download, a Stalker-themed Windows Media Player skin. It looks really great, and the buttons make a sound. Maybe with this you can play the Stalker soundtrack with more immersion. The setting of Stalker is an incredibly unique and interesting world, with the ever-changing nature of the zone and the different fascinating phenomenon that was born from it. It makes us guess as to what the zone will do next. The tales of exploration and adventure into an unknown world is reminiscent of our own curious desire to find and understand new things. Despite the danger that the zone poses, there are still stalkers that continue to rage against the alien nature of this wasteland. This is my short interpretation and summary of the game's story. In 2006, a mysterious disaster took place in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. This time, instead of another nuclear accident, it was an unknown, anomalous phenomena that nearly wiped out all of the personnel in the area. After that, it spawned a plethora of bizarre curiosities that bent our understanding of the world. Despite this, the unstable nature of the zone poses a great threat to the people staying in it. Because of this, the government of Ukraine then locked the exclusion zone under strict military control to deter people from breaking in. However, despite their actions, some people would successfully trespass into the zone, fueled by the rumored treasures and curiosities of the zone. These illegal trespassers would be known as stalkers. In September 2011, a mercenary named Scar was escorting a squad of scientists until an emission occurred. It killed everyone except for Scar. He was later rescued by a patrolling squad from a faction named Clear Sky, a faction that was created by a group of scientists. Their goals are to research the unknown phenomena and find a way to contain the zone. While he was in their care, they noted that Scar has a strange ability to survive and absorb the energy from the emission and energize his own body, giving him stronger strength and faster reflexes. Nonetheless, he was also told that it could also kill him if he kept absorbing too much energy. He was also told that these strange, storm-like phenomena, called emissions, are like the immune response of the zone. If anyone tries to get into its center, then the zone would gather up some energy from the noosphere and respond with a deadly wave of energy. Because he was helped by the group, he helped them with their mission, and while doing it, he was informed that a group of stalkers, led by a man named Strelok, is trying to get into the center of the zone, a place where the mysterious device called the monolith is located, and it is said that the monolith can grant any wish you want. After learning this information, he now has a new mission: to track down these stalkers and stop their plans. His investigations would lead him to narrowly stopping them. He kept trying, but alas, he would always be one step behind. Despite these hurdles, he still persevered. As the path to Strelok is now open, he and Clear Sky now have a direct route to their objective. They readied their weapons, and once locked and loaded, they launched their incursion to stop the stalkers. When they made it to the nuclear power plant, an all-out war is taking place. Strelok is seen making his way towards the power plant with a psi protector. Scar was then given an experimental rifle to disable this. And so on this stormy day, with the target in sight and rifle in hand, Clear Sky kept their valiant fight. A year after this event, a truck carrying unconscious stalkers was struck by lightning and crashed. An unknown stalker then stumbles onto the crash site and inspected the area. Everyone is dead except for a marked stalker. He would rescue the stalker and take him to a trader named Sidorovich. After waking up, he would learn that he remembers nothing. Talking to Sidorovich, he was told that he had a personal digital assistant with the note "Kill Strelok." And while the trader saved him, it was not done for free, so he had to take up some missions given by Sidorovich to pay him back. And so the Marked One went out on a mission, and one of them is to uncover who he is and to track down Strelok. In his search, he would help people, kill others, hunt dangerous mutants, navigate through anomalies, explore abandoned laboratories, and after tracking down the remnants of Strelok's group, he would find out their fate. Later, he would stumble upon Strelok's stash, where he would be visited by one of his former friends, and he would learn that he, the Marked One, is Strelok all along. His group also managed to get past the Brain Scorcher, a set of antennas that emit a psionic wave that fries the brain of those who stepped in its range. They even managed to get into the power plant and found a locked door leading into an unknown area. However, in here, Strelok was nearly shot to death before an emission. Fortunately, his companions managed to save him and took him to the doctor where he would be patched up. After some time, he went back to the power plant. This time, he was alone, but in his shadows, the Clear Sky and Scar are lurking. A fight broke out, and in the ensuing battle, Scar managed to disable his psi protection device. A massive, powerful emission then followed. He, along with most of the Clear Sky, Scar, and people around the power plant, were incapacitated and brainwashed. While he was in this state, his companions continued on forward and had a goal of making a decoder good enough to crack the locked door's security. Ghost searched everywhere to find the electronic parts needed by Fang to create the device. While they did succeed with the creation of the decoder, the zone would ultimately seal their fate. Fang was shot, and Ghost was left behind. Despite this, their sacrifices would not be in vain. As soon, Strelok would wake up from his nightmare. With this knowledge, and a key into their base on Pripyat, where the decoder was stored, he continued to the center of the zone to get some answers. After raiding a laboratory full of monolith and turning off the Brain Scorcher, the road to Pripyat is now open. With the echo of this information, the various factions launched a large-scale incursion into the Atomic City. The former dead city turned into a guerrilla war zone as loners, duty, freedom, military, and monolith clashed. Strelok, with the help of friendly loners, broke through the fighting. Despite the ambushes, street by street, they took down the fanatical fighters. pushing far enough. He took a detour into their secret hideout and obtained the decoder. With this in hand, he set his eyes on the power plant. Upon arriving at the entrance, a military attack named Operation Monolith was launched, and an upcoming mission was also detected. With the time ticking down, Strelok persevered through the crossfire between the Monolith and military forces. After killing the Monolith guards, he managed to enter the underground bunker leading to the power plant. Here, the Monolith forces are concentrated and well defended. But again, Strelok continued on forward. He cleared the facility room by room until he's at the heart of the zone. The Monolith lit up the corpse of the former nuclear reactor. Despite its calls, Strelok took a detour and opened the locked door. After defeating an ambush, he continued to fight off the remaining Monolith fighters, and then he stumbles upon a machine. He destroyed it, and then a holographic terminal that calls itself the Common Consciousness sprung up. It is with this that Strelok would learn some secrets of the zone. After conversing for some time, Strelok was asked if he wants to join the Common Consciousness and help them with their plan, or continue fighting. As the Monolith threw everything they got to stop Strelok, he used the mysterious anomaly that lets him teleport into a different location. This is where he kept shooting, fighting, battering, dominating, and conquering. Sometime after this event, as the route to Pripyat is now clear, stalkers from different factions would venture onwards into the center of the zone, conquering the untouched region. Again, the military launched another assault into the power plant and to take it away from the Monolith's control. Despite the precocious preparations, the helicopters carrying the soldiers mysteriously fell from the skies, and thus, the operation was deemed a failure. The security service of Ukraine then sent out one of their secret operatives named Major Alexander Degtyarev. He is disguised as a stalker to set out and find out the reason for the operation's failure. After arriving in Zayden, he went to the neutral base called Skadovsk, where he started his investigation. After asking the locals about some events, he would visit the downed helicopters. While some of them had little information, a crashed helicopter in the plateau is all he needed, with the help of a local stalker named Noah. At last, he can examine the third helicopter. The information contained in the helicopter would lead him into some evacuation points where some surviving remnants of the military could be holed up, and so he continued on his search. During his investigations, he would explore into some dangerous territories. He would help the stalkers with their problems. He would explore abandoned laboratories and gather up some information. He would hunt and annihilate mutants. He would help advance the zone's scientific findings and more. Getting back on his original mission, after examining the last helicopter, he would retrieve a black box, and when decoded by the local technician, a recording by the military said that the remaining surviving military personnel would travel to an evacuation point named B-28, which is located in a laundromat in Pripyat. Despite this information, going to Pripyat will not be an easy task, as all of the path to the city was closed off. With the exception of one way, the dangerous Jupiter underground passage, a place that was gassed and brimming with mutant activity. If that wasn't enough, a force of monolith fighters are also present. Nevertheless, with the help of some stalkers, his chances of breaking through would rise. Zulu, a duty member. Vano, a loner stalker. Strider, a former monolith fighter. Sokolov, a military pilot. And Major Degtyarev, an undercover security service agent. With their equipment and weapons ready, the 5 of them will venture through the tunnel and raise hell. After leaving the underground, they were ambushed by a squad of military personnel. It is here that the other stalkers learned his true identity. After some altercation, he meets up with the military survivors holed up in a laundromat. Here he met the operations leader, Colonel Kowalski. The major was told of their circumstances and was ordered to do some mission while they figure out the cause of the helicopter crash. He was sent on an ambush mission to plunder a mysterious weapon from the monolith. He was ordered to assassinate some mercenaries and to try to find out why are they here. He was sent to an underground laboratory where the secrets of the former scientist laid rest. He went on a raid to attack a monolith base and reduce their numbers. He was sent to destroy a signal jamming machine by the monolith and many more jobs, until finally, after some time, they would receive a transmission of something or someone approaching their base. They took this information as a monolith attack and prepared for the coming firefight. As the transmission keeps getting closer, everyone readied their weapons. The door then flung open, and a lone stalker walked inside. It was Strelok. He told them that he has valuable information regarding the zone. It is then revealed by Strelok that after the power plant invasion, he managed to meet and stop the sea consciousness by murdering them, hoping that the zone would disappear. However, we know that the zone is still alive. After some more discussion, he noted that the maps the military made were useless, as after each emission, the anomalies change and move positions. With this revelation, the military contacted their superiors and explained to them their situation. They then requested an evacuation, in which the other side approved. While an emission is ongoing, the men readied their weapons as they prepared for the extraction. And once the emission is done, after all of the punishment, anguish, isolation, misery, and agony that this nightmarish place brought to them, it's finally time for them to fight tooth and nail to escape the zone. after their daring escape. After completing his mission, Major Degtyarev was offered a position of colonel and a job as a mission coordinator. He declined this and requested that he should be sent back into the zone as their permanent observer. Strelok gave all of the information he gathered from the zone to the top officers of the USSS. Because of this, they made an institute specifically for the research of the zone. He also took up a consultant job in this institute, back in the zone. The echoes of their valiant fight against the monolith rallied some stalkers to continue on and venture forth into the heart of the disaster. Even with the constant monolith attacks, they managed to capture the former army barracks, and they used this place to delve deeper into the zone. Despite the despairful nature of the zone, some still managed to keep their heads up and achieve brotherhood, unity, happiness, safety, progress, heroism, purpose, determination, and hope. The tales of scavengers, trespassers, adventurers, loners, killers, explorers, and robbers will continue on forwards as the zone continues on living.
Кто тебе сказал, что мы враги? Молчаливы и немы в Припяти пути. Эй, куда спешишь, сталкер, брат, погоди, выпей чарку на двоих со снайпером моим.